Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, aka the Blue Blur, aka Blue Justice, and I am from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, PC, Steam, if I was assuming so, and finally the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we have basically managed to start the game off that we did somehow manage to experience not one, but two cyberspace segments, and on top of that, we did somehow obtain the first Chaos Emerald in the game, and on top of that, we did explore for quite a bit during the forms of Kronos Island, due to the forms of several tutorials that we have to go through. So either way, that's as far as saying goes. So today, for this video, is about the fact that we're about to be continuing exploring through Kronos Island to do all kinds of stuff in here and there, including by the forms of how the fact that we can able to explore around in this place, and on top of that, dealing with the forms of some more puzzle challenges, and on top of that, trying to able to stumble across into quite a few cyberspace segments, and you probably name the rest of it though. So either way though, and every once in a while though, that we might come across into quite a few battles here and there, for the sake of the forms of some enemy encounters in here and there. So as you can see, since that we did manage to complete one of those challenges, as you can see, sometimes though, in addition to able to adding ourselves some more bits of the map, but also about the fact that you can able to actually create another rail grinds, so that way you can able to do fast travels here and there. But there's actually a method you can able to do with fast travels, but I'll save that for later. So either way though, so as you can see about the fact that in addition that we occasionally got ourselves the, the heart seeds, but also we got ourselves these another seeds, as you can see. But then again though, we'll talk more details onto those specific collectibles and during later on. So either way, what I thought was a little bit interesting about this game is about the fact that you start the game off that you're able to actually carry up to 400 rings. I'm guessing it's probably because of the forms of the amount of enemies you have to deal with right there. So, but either way though, that might be saying something. So either way though, so yeah, for the most part though, it's about the fact that, yeah, as I said before, we're about to be able to deal with everything in this game. So as a result, expecting about the fact that this particular playthrough might take a bit longer than the forms of how it does it from the likes of any other Sonic Let's Plays, including Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3, and on top of all that stuff though, with any other like games for that matter, such as for instance with like, you know, this game will certainly be a lot longer than Sonic Forces, that's for sure. Especially because the only problem I have with Sonic Forces is that the game is really short, extremely short.
Amy, is that you?
Hello? Is someone there? Help me!
Hang on. Maybe messing with the ruins will fix things.
Now, remember with the forms of those memory tokens that we keep on collecting? Well, in order to able to have a chat with Amy, as you can see, basically we need to keep collecting those memory tokens, and once you've done so, basically you're now able to get the opportunity to able to unlock it. So either way though, think of like the forms of the spirit orbs from Breath of the Wild and stuff like that, so...
Sonic, are you alright?
Me? You're the one who's only half here.
I feel fine, but that energy that was holding me prisoner went into you.
I've been infused with weird zappy stuff before. Besides, I feel like it gave me some kind of boost.
Well, in that case, we need to get moving. If I was trapped, I'm sure Tails was too.
Good call. I'll scout around and find you later. Deal?
Deal. Be careful.
Careful? Where's the fun in that?
Alright, so we've rescued Amy, and every time whenever you manage to rescue Sonic's friends, basically we now have the ability to able to unlock the next ability. So, but either way though, that'll be discussion for later. So, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes, that's what I can say about it. In fact, that particular scene as you saw right there, it does kind of reminds me of something similar to the forms of one of those opening intro cutscenes or something. during the course of in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where basically some of these negative stuff is about to get to you. Basically, it's always aiming at the arm. Although, there's going to be more to it than that, but we'll save that conversation once we get to the later progressioning for the sake of the forms of the majority of Sonic Frontiers Let's Play. So, anyway, so a few things we want to explain for this point today. That is that today's date is, of course, the 2nd of June today, in this case in 2023 today. Naturally speaking, in addition about the fact that the new game did came out today, but also the new film just came out today as well at the same time, which are Street Fighter 6, and as well as from that, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has recently came out today. Now I'm sure enough that me and Silver are really looking forward to able to seeing that film, especially because, well, we've been waiting for that for quite some time, since in 2018 for the sake of the films of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So that'll be pretty exciting though, especially because, oh, this puzzle seems familiar. In fact, no matter what though, it does kind of remind me of a similar puzzle as the films of Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Although, the noticeable difference is this time is that it goes a lot faster and quick, and on top of that, about the fact that it might actually feel a bit tough and difficult later on. So, but either way, let's go and get ourselves the heart seed, so just in case we're able to save that, I'm mentioning stuff for later. But first of all, we need to take down this another Guardian right there, even though apparently we didn't actually able to trigger a name yet, so hopefully we will able to come across into a name at some point if we do manage to land on ground or something. But either way though, it seems about the fact that the actual the attack patterns might not be the strongest yet, but I'm sure enough that we will be able to actually upgrade ourselves to maximum potential for its strength or anything else like that. So, but either way, so I think for this particular Guardian, in order to able to take him down, is that you need to able to utilize with those blue marking boost marks, because otherwise though, if you manage to able to land on these blue stuff, basically though you get yourselves a bit of a boost, so that way you can able to run up, and then basically you can able to get a chance to able to attack this thing right here. So, but either way, if you do manage to able to touch the red boost marks, basically it push you backwards. So because of that though, you need to avoid the red ones at all times. So, but either way, let's just go ahead and finish them off for good, and hopefully we would able to make it happen. So if that seems to be the case, no, oh, come on, I was almost there too. Ah, jeez. Sometimes taking down Guardians might be out for the challenge. Although, mind you, this is hard mode, so but either way though, because I'm up for the challenge. So, oh, and as far as I realized about something is that I think I actually lost my progressioning a bit. But either way though, thankfully though, we did manage to able to solve the puzzle here. So, oh, it's Ashra. I think it's what it says anyway. So yeah, that's essentially what the next Guardian is going to be. So, now I'm pretty sure about the fact that just like the forms of how it does in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, alongside with Tears of the Kingdom as well, basically it does have a different type of time of day. Like for instance that I think we're currently on to daytime, and then later on though it starts to get night times, and even occasional sunsets here and there. So that's sure it's something, I suppose. So but either way though, yeah, some people seem to say that this game is basically a rip-off of the forms of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom for that matter, but honestly, both of those games are entirely different, all things considered, because obviously Sonic is all about speed and everything, and it has a lot of emphasis on exploration, whilst sometimes though you have to deal with a lot of combat here and there. But I don't mind about the combat system too much though, because thankfully you can able to upgrade certain skills, unlike some games like Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric does not have any of those battle skill unlockable stuff. So but either way though, that seems a little bit of a drawback for the sake of time. So anyway, so let's hopefully we're able to finish him off with good, and hopefully with the actual better skill for this point. So, and exponentially we finish him off. So that way we will get ourselves the next portal gear. So that way we can able to unlock the next cyberspace segment. So, oh yeah, and there's also short things worth noting for is about the fact that one thing I'm also able to admit though right away. Although first of all, before we get into that though, we need to go ahead and get ourselves the some more running stuff to do. Like to be more specifically, I'm also able to, well, essentially speaking though about the fact that some of these puzzles can be locked out behind, well, Some of them are daytime, like the majority of daytime, but as you can see on that particular puzzle thing I'm going to be solving right now, that it actually requires us to able to do nighttime. So because of this though, yeah, there's going to be a lot of times we have to do all that stuff, so... Like, for instance, we need to able to create a side loop with those shiny bits on the trees, and then exponentially we will be able to actually get ourselves, you know, another seed, as you can see, and also unlock certain parts of the map. So, and also it shows you the forms of how much vault keys you've got, and on top of that, you're able to actually realize that you got one of the 7 chaos emeralds in the corresponding island, so... But yeah, that's as far as I can try to explain about the forms of Sonic Frontiers, honestly, guys. Especially because about the fact that I think I've already explained about quite a few bits here and there. Although, again, whenever we go back onto this, until specifically on next Wednesday or something like that, hopefully though, whenever I was trying to able to actually download the first free patch update, or to be more specifically, the first free DLC update, which obviously brings us some tons of content here and there, until, you know, on next Wednesday, because obviously I'm going to be able to do playing the game non-stop at one point, so, but either way though, that might be saying something, so... Anywho though, yeah, let's talk about the forms of that particular tour I was on about ever since on Wednesday, because relatively speaking, okay, whatever. At least we did somehow land safely right here. Yeah, I will admit though right away is that the momentum feels a bit kind of screwy at points. Well, mind you about the fact that because sometimes with platforming, the momentum isn't exactly the most perfection. I will admit that right away, unlike the forms of how it does it in both Sonic Colors and especially Sonic Generations, because obviously about the fact that sometimes the mid-air controls can sometimes throw you off a bit. And also about the fact that sometimes though that we have to deal with a lot of double jumping here and there, which obviously that particular ability does return ever since in, I would say in Sonic Lost World and Sonic Forces as well, and Sonic Colors as well. So, but either way though, it plays pretty much exactly like the forms of other games essentially, so...
I wonder who used to live here.
But, anywho, so yeah, let's talk about the forms of that particular tour I was mentioning about since on Wednesday in regards to the forms of Mario Kart Tour recently. And that is about the fact that currently we're still on the forms of the new tour at the moment, which appears to be, turns out is going to call it Princess Tour, which features the forms of not only, Peach wedding outfit, which technically speaking we've already technically got that thanks to the forms of one of those gold pipes that I've already come across into. And is that supposed to be a Sonic the Hedgehog movie reference right there? Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, basically every time whenever you do manage to collect a maximum of, well, 400 rings essentially, basically we get ourselves this electrical effect right there, which I think that could be a reference to something related to the Sonic the Hedgehog the movie from the likes of the films of the 2020 film. So yeah, that's actually pretty interesting, all things considered, especially because you know what the films of that particular eyes as you saw. So but either way though, that's actually a pretty cool touch. So, but I digress. So anywho, oh, and on top of all that stuff though, when it comes to the forms of the Princess Tour, as far as other content, as far as this is concerned, basically though is about the fact that, actually I'll get to more details on that in a moment, because I think something tells me once we get that particular Chaos Emerald right there, in this case Chaos Emerald number 2, for the sake of the forms of this entire island, I believe there might be a cutscene later on, so that could be far from potential as far as this is concerned, so...
I guess that's one of the Titans keeping Amy trapped.
You leave immediately.
Where'd you come from? Are you trapped too?
Do not approach the Titan.
Sorry, kid, but I've got a job to do.
If we are fortunate, it will destroy you.
Okay, so as it turns out, we do need able to make our way towards the first Titan, as you can see. And basically, all we have to do here is to see how to do a homing attack chain onto that particular rocks. And basically, we can able to deal the damage on him, but it seems it does not get any affected on him whatsoever, so...
Okay, I'm not taking that thing down the traditional way. I'm gonna need the Chaos Emeralds. And maybe a little bit of luck.
So as it turns out, we're not strong enough to able to deal with the first Titan in the game. So as a result though, I'm pretty sure that we need to get all 7 Chaos Emeralds in order able to deal with the first Titan of the game. So... But even then, what makes this a bit crazier is that, as I said before, we're about to able to, maybe presumably we're able to become supersonic in the earliest point in the game, which, as a result, that's actually pretty cool, I must admit though. So anyway, let's go and activate the next part of the map, thanks to the funds of that particular challenge we've already accomplished, so... Yeah, that pretty much summarized for that. Although, I was originally trying to able to go after the forms of the next portal stage, or to be more specifically the cyberspace segment, but I think I'll do that at some point. So either way though, let's see. I'm also activate this, a stomp attack, so just in case we were able to get one of those familiar abilities return. So, but either way though, that might be saying something, so... Oh, it seems that we come across into one of those, Elder Coco right here. I think this appears to be buddy forms of Elder... or Hermit Coco right there? Well, I have no idea, because it's been about quite a few days ago since I actually have last played this game, so, but either way, so yeah, I think once you're able to deliver the forms of not only the, one of those hard seeds, but also with the forms of the, blue seeds, which are known as the forms of a defense seed, basically that actually increased one of your status. Specifically, we got ourselves some more level ups for the sake of the forms of attack, in addition to that, defense. So, that should be all good. But there's also another Coco around here somewhere, which it might do the latter of the forms of not only speed, but also with the forms of the ring capacity. So, but either way though, there'll be discussion at a later point. So, but either way though, that's well, I can really explain about this for the most part. So, anyways, let's talk about the forms of that particular content they've got. In terms of the forms of the current tour we're going to be on to right now, in Mario Kart Tour, since on Wednesday, that's what appears to be known as the Princess Tour, as I said before. And it does manage to contain, not so much content, but it does have some content, don't get me wrong, and those all include the Mii Racing suit, which actually represents the another color variation of the regular Mii Racing suit, but this time what appears to be by the forms of a pink color, although I'll get into more details about that in a moment, because, well, we need to talk to Amy for a second to see what the heck is going on in journey forms of this particular situation, so...
Yo, Amy. Who's your friend?
This Coco Coco says they need to find their one true love before it's too late. They've been too shy to express their feelings, but if they don't do it now, they may never get the chance.
You got all that, huh?
I feel like the dimension I'm in is translating for me. It's strange, but feels natural.
Well, you always had a knack for weird insights. Who am I to argue?
Well, don't you worry. We'll reunite you with your lost love.
I would think we've got more pressing issues, but again, who am I to argue?
And this is where we get introduced into ourselves, these Cocos. Now I believe for those Cocos are also very important, for not only for its level grinding, but it's also with the plot significance. So but either way though, so I think we need to able to talk to Amy again, because I'm pretty sure we actually got enough memory tokens as far as this is concerned. Although mind you, we still need to able to collect a whole bunch of them, for not only for Amy, but something tells me we come across into that another strange character, which I think something tells me her name was Sage, so...
Sonic! Over here! This poor mother says she's lost her children. Can you lead them back here, please?
Sure thing.
So yeah, remember I mentioned this before, that the Cocos are important, because obviously sometimes in order to get even more Chaos Emeralds, basically we need to deal with one of the challenges, like for instance, Family Greeting Challenge. And basically we need to guide the rest of those Cocos to their mother and stuff like that. And then basically it's about the fact that, as you can see, we do have 3 units of health, because if we get hit by the forms of 3 bombs for 3 times, basically though, your challenge will be failed, and as a result you need to redo the entire challenge again. So, at least thankfully about the fact that you can able to retry any of those challenges many times as you want. So, but either way though, yeah, it's pretty simple when you get the hang of it. So, but either way, I lost one of my health, but whatever, we've already completed a challenge.
Okay, we'll keep looking. Sonic, they act like none of that happened.
Do we even know what that was?
No, but I got a sense of completion, comfort.
Weird. Now let's keep moving. I want to wrap up our time here ASAP.
Sounds good to me.
By the way, I love the fact that every time whenever you accomplish something like this, in addition to able to obtaining the next Chaos Emerald or something like that, basically I love the fact that it shows us a cutscene where Sonic just somehow does a victory dance-off, at the same time obtaining the Chaos Emerald, which I will say, that's actually pretty cool though, whenever you manage to accomplish something like that. That is definitely my favorite highlight in terms of Sonic Frontier so far. But then again though, that's for discussion for a later day. well, at least in terms of the forms of the later islands to come. So either way, so yeah, let's keep on talking about the forms of the Princess Tour for a bit, especially concerning with that particular content they've got. Obviously, as I said before, it does manage to contain the pink colored variation of the Mii Racing suit, and also we got ourselves the Daisy Mii Racing suit, which as a result to represent the forms of the actual princess colors. So, oh yeah, before I get into more details onto this though, sometimes as you can see, most of the time we need to do a lot of wall climbing. Well, usually you can able to do wall climbing, but as a result, similar to the forms of how it does in Sonic Lost World for the parkour feature, basically you can able to run up to walls by simply able to do boosting. So but either way though, at least thankfully about the fact that it doesn't feel nearly as frustrating as the forms of how it does on this very schizophrenic difficulty for the sake of the forms of Sonic Lost World on the Wii U and PC version. But as a result of that kind of stuff though, I think that's as far as I can try to explain it, the forms of certain comparisons for multitude of factors. So anyway, as for the Daisy Mii Racing suit, and as well as from the forms of the pink Mii Racing suit, they do have special items. So for instance, in Daisy's Mii Racing suit does contain triple banana items, which is pretty similar to the forms of how it does it for Dixie Kong. And as far as the forms of the pink Mii Racing suit, as far as this is concerned, it does contain a heart item. So, but either way though, that's as far as I can usually think about it. One thing I did not expect about the fact that, well, in addition to able to bringing back the forms of Daisy Circuit from Mario Kart Wii, but also out of nowhere, what I sort of forgot to mention about, during the forms of on Wednesday and stuff like that, they somehow managed to brought back one of the tracks from the likes of a Mario Kart Super Circuit. That's what appears to be Peach Circuit, because the last time they actually bring that back was in Mario Kart DS. So as a result, they actually got themselves a lot of visual upgrades for the sake of the forms of Peach Circuit, because it's now in fully 3D when it comes to not only background environments, but also with the forms of the track layout as well. Although, as far as everything else goes, as far as I'm aware, the only new driver that we come across into, which appears to be another color of the forms of Birdo, but this time what appears to be red color. So either way though, it might be seems kind of I don't know about you, kind of feels a bit outdated when it comes to able to gain that particular method of unlocking Red Birdo, because obviously we've already got her from the likes of the forms of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe after all. So relatively speaking though, I think I get the horrible feeling about the fact that it's locked out behind the stupid tier system, which I still really hate the forms of the tier system, because sometimes though, I felt incredibly unlucky when it comes to the forms of some situations like that. So yeah, I might be biased when it comes to the forms of likely just to prefer certain stuff, and at the same time, not a big fan of certain aspects, so but I digress. And in addition to those, in terms of the forms of carts and gliders they're able to get, and those are silver cubit arrows and gold cubit arrows and red turbo Birdo. And I think that's the only thing I can think about in terms of carts and stuff like that. And as far as gliders are concerned, I think they only contain two of them, which are Gold Bells and Gold Glittering Glider. So yeah, I think that's as far as I can think about it. Now as far as the forms of other things worth noting for is that the next Mii Racing suits, they've been also able to come on its way. It's hard to tell at this point because they're all in silhouettes, so it could be pretty well hidden of trying to able to guess which one of those Mii Racing suits it does contain. But either way though, that might be saying something, so oh yeah, we got some sad news to tell you guys, and that is about the fact that unfortunately though recently, I think that was back in the forms of been quite a few days ago, unfortunately Tina Turner died, which as a result of that kind of stuff though, you know that she was famous for certain music compositions, like not only from the likes of she did manage to sing not only GoldenEye from the likes of GoldenEye as a James Bond movie, but also, if you couldn't tell already, she also did He Lives in You for the sake of the forms of The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, at least specifically with the actual soundtrack version of that, at least if I was assuming so anyway. Well mind you, it's been ages ago since I actually have last heard this song, especially because the only time I actually hear that song briefly is with the actual advertising thing for the Lion King collection soundtrack, or the CD for that particular point. Whenever I, like, that was back in my young days actually, whenever I was able to watch The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride on the VHS, that was the only thing I stumbled across into as a kid, and I haven't exactly known about the vocals for ever since then, so... But anyway, that's as far as I can usually think about this, so yeah, it seems kind of sad, especially because, well, you know, it's gone pretty bleak when it comes to the forms of some, you know, positive stuff as far as this is concerned, able to think about. Although, relatively speaking though, it's just about the fact that, well, yeah, it seems pretty sad. Although, potentially speaking though, we actually got some good news to talk about. That is about the fact that thanks to the forms of the PlayStation Showcase, which it already did happen about a couple of days ago, potentially, basically we actually got tons of stuff they've got. Like, for instance, about the fact that, let's get the movie adaptation out of the way first. For instance, we got ourselves a brief sneak peek in terms of the forms of a brand new movie is going to be on its way. That's what appears to be none other than Gran Turismo, the movie. And it's going to be releasing at some point in August, so that'll be roughly about 2 months time. So, but either way though, that'll be pretty exciting, because especially notable about the fact that it's been about a year ago since Uncharted the movie came out in 2022, the same year as Sonic the Hedgehog 2 the movie came out. So, but either way though, that seems pretty cool, because especially notable that we actually got 2 of those video game movie adaptations during the forms have been 2022. So, but either way, while I still usually prefer Sonic the Hedgehog 2 a bit more, just because of the forms of how, in fact, I'm a die-hard Sonic fan, as you already expect. So, but either way, though, I might be biased when it comes to both of those things, and during the forms have been last year. So, anyways, let's go and upgrade ourselves the next ability that we can use. That's what appears to be Wild Rush. So, but either way though, even though despite the fact that it takes me a bit while to get used to with the actual controls and everything, because I did manage to able to practice that on my own time, for not only on the Xbox One version, but also on the Nintendo Switch version as well. Although, mind you about the fact that later on this coming month, that not only that Sonic Origins will be getting a DLC, which appears to be the expansion pack of it, but in forms of Sonic Origins Plus, but also about the fact that, I think, relatively speaking, that I believe we've only got about 21 days to go until, presumably, Sonic Origins Plus will be able to get the expansion pack DLC, and on top of that with the forms of, well, the physical version here now as well. And in addition to that, I think I get the strong sense of feeling that the second free DLC for Sonic Frontiers might be expected to come during exactly the same time as in the forms of Sonic Origins Plus, if I'm assuming so. But we shall see when we find out what really happens during that time. So, but either way though, yeah, let's just dive right into the next cyberspace segment. And this one appears to be something that's entirely brand new at the time. That's what appears to be a city environment, as you can see. Although, mind you, as I said before, that this level is also going to be pretty short. In fact, most people complain that the cyberspace segments are easily the weakest part of the forms of the game, as far as I do realize about something, because not only because of how the fact that most of those segments are pretty short, but also about the fact that a lot of people complain there's a lack of originality when it comes to the forms of the level environments, which as far as I can definitely notice from the start. Especially noticeable because whenever we get to the later cyberspace segments, well, I can assure you about the fact that it does manage to contain 4 themes as far as this is concerned, which is not a lot, because I was expecting they were able to bring back the classic themes from the likes of not only the Dreamcast era, but also with the forms of the modern era as well, which also includes by the forms of Sonic Forces or something like that, or even Sonic Lost World for that matter, but no, I get the strong sense of feeling that it only contains like the majority of the themes based off from Sonic classic era of games, which are, we've already come across into 2 of them so far, which are Green Hill Zone and Sky Century Zone, which, kind of think about it, it feels very similar to the forms of the console version of Sonic Generations on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 for that regard. But either way though, that'll be a discussion for later. So as you can see, we can now have the ability to able to get that particular next Chaos Emerald right there. So that'll be important for later, so...
I appear to be in a digital dimension. I've employed similar constructs in my own systems, but this is markedly more advanced. Note to self, don't admit that to anyone. The amount of data stored here defies quantification. But it won't stop me from trying.
Well, looks like Dr. Eggman is also trapped inside in that particular cyberspace as well. Although, relatively speaking, I think that could be something to do with the forms of that particular device that he's got. Ever since in the beginning portion of the cutscene, well, to be more specifically in the opening cutscene as far as what I meant to say for this point. But either way though, that could be something for a reason for that. So, but either way, there's also another thing I would like to discuss upon. Unfortunately though, that the Wii U repairs has come into an end in Japan. So relatively speaking though, about the fact that because future generations has to come, and as a result they can no longer try to able to fix the Wii U unless if you're trying to do it yourself or something like that. So, but either way, kinda sucks to able to end this way, especially because again, that we now moved on to the Switch era where it comes to like, you know what I'm saying with the forms of gaming releases or anything else like that. So, anyways, here we go on to another cyberspace segment, and as you can see, we're going back to Green Hill Zone again, but this time it's going to be like a sunset vibe to it, which as a result, that's the only thing I do like a bit, but as you can tell from that particular level environment, as you can see, that with the forms of the level layout, it feels pretty much exactly like the forms of modern Green Hill from the likes of Sonic Generations. Like, the only noticeable exception is, of course, it cuts the level pretty short. So because of this, though, yeah, it's basically the exact same level layout as the forms of how it does in Sonic Generations, for not only for the Xbox 360, but also the PlayStation 3 as well, for modern Sonic anyway, or specifically Green Hill Act 2, basically. So, but either way though, yeah, you probably get the idea about the fact that there might be going to be a lack of originality when it comes to level environments like these ones, so... But I digress. Oh yeah, there's also the exciting thing is about to happen, specifically, maybe at some point in this month, that recently we got ourselves a teaser trailer for the sake of the forms of the next Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC. That's what appears to be by the forms of the last Spark Hunter. So as a result, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen after the events of how the fact that, well, relatively speaking though about the fact that I believe that particular Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope game is almost going to be 1 year old until specifically in October for this year. But either way though, I think we've only got about 4 months left until when that happens. So, anyways though, so let's go ahead and grab some more red star rings to able to get, you know what I mean, another one of those vault keys that we've already got. So, but either way though, and we did this on the first attempt, unlike the forms of how it does on this very schizophrenic, you know, multiple attempts for not only the first cyberspace level, but also on the second one as well, because of that very stingy S-rank time, because, you know, you need to be so perfect on it. So, anyway, so now we've done with that, and now we actually got enough vault keys to able to, presumably, we can able to get the next Chaos Emerald as far as this is concerned. So, because I'm pretty sure that some of these Chaos Emeralds are locked out behind the actual vault keys for sure, but there are some of them you do need to acquire to able to actually complete one of those, you know, Coco challenges before you're able to proceed. So, although I might be guessing if I'm right or something like that, but then again though, it's been 2 days ago since I actually have last played this game for sure, so... Anyways, so let's climb onto this little pole thingy right there until we're able to, well, activate a switch, or specifically, trying to blow out the flame, and that way we can able to, well, activate not only more rails to grind on to make the actual fast travels a bit more manageable, but also see some more icons as you can see on the actual map itself as well. So, but either way, yeah, that's the perfect example of why that this particular playthrough might take a bit of a while to able to get this thing uploaded and all that stuff. Not only because of how the fact that sometimes though that you know, just get used to with the controls and the momentum, but also with the forms of how the fact that unfortunately though my laptop seriously has a lot of issues recently with all that continuous lag here and there, which I think that Pac-Man also come across as the exactly same issue from the likes of the forms of Pac-Man World Repack recently. So as a result though, that we'll try to fix that at some point until next week. Although presumably for that matter though, it won't be so much of an issue until specifically this particular weekend coming up. But either way though, that might be saying something. So yeah, in terms of the forms of Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, the last Spark Hunter, in this case the second DLC and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure what the release date is going to be releasing on. I think presumably it might be at some point until on summer or something like that. It could be either this month, or June, or July, or August. It's hard to tell for this point, honestly. So, but either way though, now as you can see we stumbled across into the next Guardian of any sort, and this time what appears to be Squid. And let me tell you right off the bat though, sometimes I love and hate encountering new forms of Squid. Hating it because sometimes if I love to be able to explore certain places, basically I always get interrupted by the forms of that particular jump scare with the forms of a squid. And as a result of that kind of stuff though, it feels a little bit too much for my liking when it comes to jump scares and everything. But I love encountering him though, don't get me wrong, especially that as you can see on the beginning portion of the fight. Basically though, we need to do a bit of a similar sequence as the forms of Starlight Carnival segment in terms of the forms of, you know, Sonic Colors and stuff like that. Although the noticeable differences this time is that when if you do manage to attack him, basically it's now your chance to able to attack him, and presumably you need to able to do a praying, because otherwise if you don't pray at all, you lose a ton of rings. So because of that though, always make sure to pray until you're able to, like, you know, keep on attacking him or something. So yeah, that probably explains it how. So anywho though, in terms of other stuff I would like to mention though, is that relatively speaking, when it comes to everything else for this point, is that there's actually a new game that's going to be on its way, and that's what appears to be Buddy Forms of the Smurfs 2, The Prisoner of the Green Stone, has recently just announced for about a couple of days ago, since, I would say on the 17th of May, that basically that particular game is going to be on its way on the Switch, and I think it's going to be releasing until the 4th quarter of 2023, sometime in the forms of in the actual holiday season or something that relates to that. So, but either way though, that might be saying something. So, oh, and speaking of which though, is about the fact that you guys even remember that we've already talked about this during the forms of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom sales. Basically, not only that game did manage to able to get about, has sold for about 10 million copies worldwide in the first 3 days, but it also becomes the fastest selling game in the entire history of the Legend of Zelda series. So yeah, it's actually pretty epic in that regard, especially because you know how the fact that everyone else has been waiting for that game for such a long time. And yeah, as far as I can usually think about it, I would like to discuss upon the forms of more details about the forms of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, until presumably entering at some point until next Monday or something, because obviously there are some other discussions I would like to point things out, and that is that, well, exponentially speaking, in regards to the forms of how in fact what the actual Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, the last Spark Hunter, is going to take place, I can assure you it does manage to take place in during forms of a new planet, and on top of that, I think it's going to cause it Melodic Gardens, I think that's what it says anyway, in during forms of the actual information as far as this is concerned. But either way though, yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to see how that DLC is going to be represented with that stuff, so. And for that particular cyberspace level, as you can definitely see, we are returning back onto Chemical Plant level ever since in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and as a result, yeah, I'm just getting sick of the forms of that reused level environments, such as the forms of not only Green Hill Zone, but also with Chemical Plant as well. Because I know for a fact that we've already experienced this level quite a lot of times since not only in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but also with Sonic Mania, alongside with Sonic Generations, and Sonic Forces, and now Sonic Frontiers. Like, I get it because of the popularity, but seriously, that seems a bit too much when it comes to the lack of originality department, when it comes to the forms of the level environments and stuff like that, which, I know, because of how the fact that some of these cyberspace levels are quite alright for the most part, although, except the fact that because the mid-air controls feels a bit tad stiffer in 3D, but either way though, because it has exactly the same issue as I have, from the likes of the forms of Sonic Forces, as you know. But either way, I could assure you, for that particular level environment, or the level layout, is actually based off from Act 2 of Chemical Plant level from the likes of Sonic Generations, you know, with, you know, modern Sonic and stuff like that. Although the noticeable differences this time is that, obviously about the fact that the boost system has been nerfed during the forms of the actual cyberspace segments, so... And speaking of the cyberspace segments and journey forms of Kronos Island, I believe we've almost done here, so but either way though, let's go ahead and grab some more vault keys. Now I believe before we end things off, we need to talk to Amy quickly, so just to see what's going on next.
How you feeling, Amy? I mean, what's it like being all ghosty?
Honestly, I don't feel that different since you helped clear my mind. I guess it feels kind of... detached? Have you ever flown around in a dream? Like you're lighter than air? That's what it feels like to me, anyway. I just wish I could finally land and be whole again.
Yeah, hang in there, Amy. I'll figure something out.
So, I'm afraid to tell you for this point, guys, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers. Is that not only we was able to do some more stuff in Kronos Island, but also about the fact that we was able to come across into, or presumably, we was able to finish up the rest of the forms of the cyberspace segments in journey forms of Kronos Island. But we shall see what happens in due time. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Later, fellas.